Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, April 17th, 2019. And in the headlines on social media and gathering in my email box and also the Planet X News inbox on Facebook are all of you sending me this article pertaining to a giant planet above the Earth captured by an amateur photographer. I was very hesitant to even kind of waste my time looking at this because, I've said this many times before, folks. There is just absolutely no way that we would have a giant planet up in the sky above the Earth besides what we refer to as the moon. And the moon is a very, very small body. I've also mentioned many times before learning about planetary dynamics. We'll get into that. But anyways, after receiving about 100 emails pertaining to this article and woke up this morning at 4 a.m. and I had 62 inbox messages on Planet X News on Facebook, all sharing this article with me. So, I decided to go ahead and take a look at it. And I did just that. And I'm going to go over this information with all of you very, very quickly. But I want you to just start to heed warnings about what I'm telling you. Be very careful of what you're viewing on YouTube and on social media. A lot of people just try to perpetrate a hoax and, they refer to it as clickbait. There are many people on YouTube that do the same identical thing. And, it's related to Nibiru, Planet X, Nemesis. A few of these YouTube channels should know better by now. And I keep getting people that ask me to take a look at Steve Olson's videos on WSO. They ask me to take a look at videos that are being posted by Alex Luhan on his Planet X channel, and also Mary Greenlee, I think or Mary Greeley is her name. And, look, folks, by now, Steve Olson should fully understand and know better about what he's seeing in the sky and what he is telling all of his subscribers. I'm not going to get into all of that. The same thing goes for Alex over there at this Planet X channel. As far as what Mary Greeley or Greenlee, whatever her name is, whatever she is showing you people and describing, look, all I can say is they are not planets in the sky. It's just literally impossible. And I'm going to give all of you some reading material today. And if you take the time to, maybe educate yourself a little bit and start to understand planetary dynamics. I mean, I've studied it for years, and I do a lot of reading on this. Look, I'm no expert astronomer or astrophysicist, but I do have a brain. I do read a lot. I do investigate a lot, and I do research every single day, at least 10 to 12 hours. So, over the past 20 years, I've educated myself on all of these topics. As far as viewing these FAA webcams, I looked at all of those, oh boy, way back in 2015 and 16. And yeah, I caught myself kind of, being tricked by some of the camera anomalies. Then I started looking into the types of cameras that they use, and I started learning a lot about photography and photographing light objects such as the sun. And then I started to figure out, okay, well, that's definitely not a planet. That's some kind of a lens flare or some kind of a light diffraction of some kind. And then I started learning more and more about this damn sun simulator. And there's a very, very high possibility that some of those captures on those FAA webcams are not planets in the sky. I mean, that's, at this point in time, folks, we know enough to say that that's asinine. Okay, if somebody is showing you that on YouTube or on Facebook, you need to call them out. Don't be afraid to do that. Look, I have people call me out all the time. I answer as many of your questions in the question comment boxes under the videos. I answer as many questions as I possibly can on our new private network, and also Facebook on, or excuse me, Planet X on Facebook, and, you know, all these emails. But for all of you that watch Planet X News, I'm sure that by now you understand that there are no planets in our skies. We're just not going to see that. And if you ever did have the opportunity to get a quick glance at that, probably within a few milliseconds later, we'd all be dead. Okay? If you just start to understand how the moon affects the tides on our planet, then you would fully understand that a large planet like what you're seeing on your screen right now would just totally annihilate the Earth. I mean, the tides would be just completely erratic. We would probably have catastrophic flooding worldwide, you know, and not to even bring into this topic, but that planet's massive amount of radiation. So there are no planets in the sky. I don't care what Steve Olson is telling you. I don't care what this Alex is telling you on his fake Planet X channel. And I really don't care what Mary Greeley is saying when she's telling you that these are planets in the sky. They're just absolutely not. And I'm sure you could hear the frustration in my voice this morning, but it is what it is. And look, I'm here to help everybody out to understand what is happening. When you ask me why can't we see this Planet X object from the Earth? Well, number one, we do still think that it is some type of a brown dwarf or stellar core object, the remnants of a burned out star. It does not produce any light whatsoever. Unless it is very, very close to the sun, we may get photographic evidence by capturing it within a coronal mass ejection, which I've done many times before. So if this object is over 93 million miles away, and depending on the Earth's position in its orbit around the sun, we're not going to see it with our naked eye. We're not going to see it with a high-powered camera or video camera, or even a high-powered telescope, you know, one that you personally would buy. Now, if you had the opportunity to go to an observatory where they had infrared technology with their telescope, and you were allowed to go in there, and you were allowed to extract data after you possibly found this object out there orbiting the sun, which I doubt very highly they would let you get away with, then you would probably be able to see it, definitely in infrared. And you can guarantee, folks, that the boys in blue at NASA and all of the major space agencies around the world, you know for a fact that they all have the best photographic evidence of this object. Now, I want you to think very clearly about what I'm about to tell you. If you notice all of a sudden, especially here in the United States, this huge push since the beginning of January about climate change, okay, they should have been talking to all of us about climate change several years ago. But now all of a sudden, there's just this huge push by politicians stating that within the next 5, 10, 12 years, the Earth is going to be a complete disaster because of climate change. Well, ladies and gentlemen, going back to 2016, I was telling each and every one of you that were viewing my channel that in the upcoming years, that's what we were going to be faced with. There is no rogue planet that's going to crash into the Earth like you see on the UK tabloids. That's just not going to happen. I've gone over the whole entire theory of Nibiru with all of you. This object that we're viewing out there orbiting the sun, it doesn't follow any of the historical documentation of Nibiru. It does not follow any of Gil Broussard's information that he put out there related to biblical scripture. If I'm hurting anybody's feelings, look, I'm sorry, but I only like to deal in facts. Okay, if I wanted to just sit here all day long and perpetrate a fraud on all of you, I can show you all kinds of photographic anomalies when I'm taking photographs of the sun. Okay, now, I've studied photography for numerous amounts of years. I have a very, very good friend of mine who is a professional photographer for more than 35 years. I've had him analyze some of my photographs over the years. I've actually got him hooked on this research, and we do kind of work together when I get some photographs that I need some real work done on, because he has very, 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 very good software. Also, his daughter is a forensic photographer, and we've actually gotten her involved in helping out with determining what some of these photographs are. And I've even sent him over some, what I think were UFO photographs, and I've shown all of you those pictures before also. So I don't mean to get on here and bash people, but whenever you, the viewers, the subscribers, are sending me data from other YouTube channels by the droves, and you're asking me, hey, can you address this? Hey, can you talk about this? Hey, are they telling us the truth? Well, if I ignore all of you, then you get mad. So today, once again, I'm slipping right down that double-edged sword. I'm pissing some of you off because you're fans of WSO or Mary Greeley or whoever. But the facts are the facts. If you want to deal in facts, you'll stick around here. If you want to deal in make-believe, then you'll go somewhere else. But anyways, I started to read the article about this giant planet above Earth captured by amateur photographer. And, right off the bat, folks, I knew it was complete BS. But anyhow, anywho, and anyway, let's check out what I found. Let's go ahead and move over to the actual article. So many of you sent me links. And this was published... Let's go down here. You can see the published date, April 15th, 2019. And let's zip on up here. I guess the name of this website is, I don't know, I guess Alien Star. I don't even know. But anyways, let's scroll on down here. And giant planet above Earth captured by amateur photographer. Let me get a sip of my coffee, because I have a feeling I'm going to be long-winded. Damn, that dragon coffee's good. Anyways, this article goes on to state right here, Hungarian amateur photographer Ian Eder captured the picture of what seems to be a planet while photographing the moon in Budapest. In the picture, a strange planet appears against the backdrop of the moon, which means that it's extremely close to our planet. Eder thoroughly studied the image, but could not find any logical explanation to it. Okay, well, that's a lie right there. When Eder made public the image on the World Wide Web, Conspirators immediately associated the planet with legendary Nibiru. Okay, folks, well, here's the photograph that, what's this guy's name again? Igor? Oh, Ivan. Anyways, Ivan snapped this photograph, and it does look pretty damn suspicious, doesn't it? When I saw this photograph, and before I even really got into the article, I thought to myself, I've seen this picture before. I've seen similar photographs like this before. And the first thing that came to mind was at certain points in time, Venus is aligned with our moon, and we kind of get this effect. And sure enough, as I delved into it, that's what I actually found out. So it states that others affirm that there was some kind of gap in space and that the planet from the image is only a deformed version of the moon. Well, that is actually correct. What you're seeing there is the moon, and that little teeny tiny little dot way back there, well, that's Venus. Okay? So, you know, I'm not even going to go on into the rest of this article. I guess that's Ivan. I guess that's his big bad telescope. But if he was using a telescope of that size, he would have definitely known what he was photographing. And in actuality, he did. So this was more of the photographs that Ivan took. And they're talking about, you know, some people even associate this with the general idea that we live in a matrix, or that the world as we know it is not the real one, and many more theories like that, so on and so forth. So, did Ivan actually take a picture of a giant planet above Earth? Well, if you want to call the moon a giant planet, I guess he did. But in all actuality, what Ivan photographed was a zoomed in view of the moon in the daytime with Venus in a crescent behind it. Now, if you were looking at this without a telescope or a high-powered camera, you would probably see in the daytime, probably 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the crescent moon, and maybe, depending on how good your eyes are and how clear the skies were, you may see a little teeny tiny little dot back behind that moon. But you would probably see it even better looking through binoculars, telescope, or a high-powered camera. So let's go ahead and just jump out of here. And if you do a quick search, you see these actual photographs right here. Bing, 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 that Ivan took. These are his photographs right here. So we'll just go ahead and get out of there. And, excuse me, when you actually get into what Ivan actually captured, if you look way over here, it says February 13th, 2013. Let me see if I can blow that up for you guys. There you go. You see that? The moon and Venus captured in a single photograph. February 13th, 2013. Okay, so we got that nipped in the butt already. And if you go down and you read the article, I'll put the link in the description box, the live chat. And it says, "Behold a photograph of the moon. Can you see it? No, it's not that tiny bright crescent you see. The moon is that faint giant crescent. The tiny one to its left is Venus." And then it goes on to tell you the truth. Hungarian astrophotographer. Now listen, folks, you know, in the other article, it said that Ivan didn't know what the hell he was photographing. But anybody who is an astrophotographer knows exactly what they are photographing. And it says that Ivan Eder captured this beautiful photograph back in 2004 from Budapest, Hungary. The moon and Venus are both bright enough to be observed during the day from people on the ground. When they're close to one another in the sky, beautiful shots like this one can be snapped using a telescope. And bingo, there's the photograph. Pretty interesting. So now you see my point, folks, that you can't always believe what you're seeing on social media, especially if you're just zipping through and, panning down through Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and you see these flamboyant headings. And look, I'm not putting any of you down. Maybe you don't know any better, and you would think, oh my God, I've been following this Planet X information now for like 6 months to a year. Oh no, is this absolutely possible? So that's why I like to just start to deal with facts and understanding what we're looking at, what actually can happen and what can't happen. And if that can't happen, happened, yeah, we'd all be dead, if that made any sense to you. So it goes further on to talk about how Ivan caught the photograph and all of the forensics behind his camera speed, megapixels, the whole 9 yards. And this gets into really complex photography. And this was submitted to a photography website called Petapixel. You see it right up here, upper left-hand corner. And here's another photograph, which was a lot clearer. And as time goes by during this type of photography, the first photograph that you saw, let's just say this was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're going to get that faint line of the moon. And again, he's using a telescope with astrophotography equipment on it so he can take high definition photographs, crystal clear. So let's just say that photograph was taken at 4 o'clock. This photograph, as you could see, now we're seeing a more defined part of the moon. So this photograph would have had to have been taken a little bit later on as the sun's going down. And you now see more defined, a more defined area of the moon. Here's a close-up of that shot. You could see Venus in the background, but now you can really see what was back there. And it wasn't a giant planet. It was our little moon up there. He's just zoomed in on it using a pretty sophisticated telescope with astrophotography equipment. So there you go. I will put this link in the live chat. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, you can. But this just goes to show you that learning about what is real and what is not will help all of you out in understanding things when you're viewing these other videos on YouTube and you're following these other YouTube channels. The way I would say it is they're doing nothing but polluting your mind. And then you start to bring everything in question. But you won't cloud your mind if you just take some time and start to read about some of these subjects. Now, this was a book that I read, I can't even remember. It's been quite some time. I actually have it in a PDF format, and I'd be more than happy to share it with all of you. And it's called Planetary System Dynamics. And this is a very, very well written book. This goes into a lot of science, a lot of math, and Yeah, there's some parts of it that are a little hard to understand. If definitely if you're not a mathematical wizard and you know you're not good at algebra, trigonometry, and geometry, but it will give you the basics about how planets orbit. They're, well, basically you can see right here the eccentricity of planets, their orbital paths around other objects such as a sun, barycentric orbits, and here's orbits in 3D, perturbed orbits. Yeah, don't ask me what this is here. I had to get Dr. Albers involved in that equation. She tried to explain it to me, and I just about pulled my hair out. And restricted three-body problem. This was very, very interesting. And again, this is very, very, very scientific. You know, it blew my mind. I actually had to read this. I think I read it 4 times. And there are still parts of it that I don't understand because I'm not a math wizard. But it will give you some of the ideas that you should have in your brain about why there would not be a massive planet in the sky that you would be able to photograph with a cell phone or even a good 35 millimeter camera. Then, and this goes on and on, there's a lot of information here. I'll just pan on down and, you know, you guys can read all of this. It's very, very interesting, and it will help you understand that when somebody is telling you on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or even an article, you know, on the internet on a website, that there's a big planet in the sky, then you will say to yourself, okay, well, based on my own education and what I've read, that's impossible. Literally impossible. So, if some of you are getting mad at me once again because I'm calling out some other YouTube channels, hey, so be it. But I have to answer the questions for the hundreds of people that email me and inbox me. And, you know, some of them were scared. Oh, Scott, is this real? Oh, my daughter texted me a link to this, and I was driving and reading this. Well, number one, you shouldn't be reading a text message while you're driving. That's quite dangerous. But, you know, you shouldn't be afraid, because if you truly know in your heart, based on your education, that those types of photographs are not true. They are fake. Now, that photograph wasn't fake. The photograph was actually real. The way somebody portrayed the photograph is what the problem is. Okay? We see this when people look at the FAA cameras. We see this when people look at the All Sky Cam network. And I'll be quite honest, folks, I don't even waste my time viewing any of that data. I think on the FAA cameras, the only thing that you're going to see there are breakdowns with the sun simulator. And Jeff P, by far, has the best information on that subject. So whenever Jeff comes up with something, I'll see it. He'll share it with me. I'll see it in one of his YouTube videos. And I leave that part of this whole investigative matrix up to him because he's done extensive work on it. Me, I want to know more about what is orbiting our sun. And what deathly scares me is the climate change. Now, later on today, once again, there are going to be catastrophic storms erupting through Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, possibly all the way through the southeast of the United States. Just the other day, a town was completely obliterated off the map. 8 people lost their lives. We're still dealing with flooding issues out there in the Midwest. Temperatures are going to be rising very, very soon. Just had another extensive amount of snow blast through the central part of the United States. We're going to be dealing with a lot of flooding through probably 2/3 of our country. And some of the same things are going to be occurring once again with more frequency in South America, Europe, throughout the entire world, folks. So we do have a lot on our plate, and we're going to be dealing with these things for the rest of our lives. So no matter how much longer you live, you're going to be living through this. You shouldn't be worried about some fake planet in the sky that's really not there. And if YouTube channels are portraying that, send them to me. I'd be more than happy to do a live stream with them and set them straight. And when you're watching those videos, I'm going to say this again. When you're watching those videos, you all like to comment underneath my videos. Well, get your butts in there and comment under those videos. And tell them that they are full of BS. What they're showing you is absolutely 100% not true. So let's deal with facts and not fiction. That's the way I see it. I will, excuse me, I will leave a link for this PDF, and you guys can check it out, read up on it. Like I said, don't feel bad if 90% of it you don't understand, because it is very, very difficult to understand. But at least it will put something in your mind so you can understand and rest assured that when you're looking at some of these cockamamie videos, that it's not a planet in the sky. I don't care what anybody says. I know for a fact that what people are showing you in other videos and pictures are not planets in the sky. They're simply photographic anomalies. Maybe they're playing around with the little light filters in the photographs. But that's about it. Now, getting into some space weather, folks, I had a lot of people over the last couple of days asking me about excruciating headaches and migraines. And I've mentioned this a couple of times before. And it was just yesterday that both Dr. Albers and we both had excruciating migraines. Both of us had the migraines directly behind our left eyes, and the left side of our heads were feeling like kind of numb and very tender. And Dr. Albers has gone on many times, and she's written many reports on how space weather affects the human body. And one of the first things that it's going to affect is your brain. And we both had these excruciating headaches just about all day, all night. Mine was so bad in my left eye, I could hardly see. By 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday, I just about had to shut down the shop and call it a day, because I couldn't concentrate. My mind was all over the place. I couldn't see out of my left eye. My head was just banging. I don't take any medications or anything like that. Very rarely do I pop an aspirin or a Tylenol. I took 3 aspirin and it didn't do a damn thing. By later on in the afternoon, I started feeling nauseous, and same thing with Dr. Albers. But she went on and, she worked into the night, but by around 10 o'clock at night, she was still experiencing that very severe headache. So if any of you have these sporadic moments with these migraines that just come out of nowhere, maybe some disorientation, a lot of it may have to do with our space weather. I've mentioned this many times before. I'll mention it again. We're going through a period of time now where our magnetopause, the Earth's shield, is weakening due to this solar minimum that we are just about to get into. And I'm seeing, again, many different anomalies with our magnetopause. I'm going to show those to you in a few minutes. But, we did have this sunspot 2738 move by us. I'm going to show you on the solar wind model what the Earth is about to go through. So we really didn't see any coronal mass ejections. We didn't see anything like that. Just some minor flaring from this sunspot. It weakened, it diminished, it degraded. I don't think it's any type of a threat to us now whatsoever. So we're going to go ahead and jump out of the Solar Dynamics Observatory. And, over here at the SEEDS website, me and Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel, we've been going nuts over the last couple of days. Why there's no data. All the data. Nothing. And this website, George Mason University Space Weather Lab, they're usually, right on target, data up there, ASAP. We got nothing. Nothing at all. And the data that I jumped into the other day from Mauna Loa Space Telescope over there in Hawaii, I went back and I wanted to review some more of the data. And the data from the 11th, 12th, and 13th was now removed. And that's no joke. I'm dead serious. And then, as I was chatting with a gentleman from Poland, and we were talking about the photographs, I said, well, let me go back and check something. And when I went to go back and check, I could not get back onto the website. This crazy looking error message just kept showing up. I don't know if it was a problem with their website. I don't know what the issue was, but I could not get back on. And then when I did, the data for the 11th, 12th, 13th, gone. X'd off the calendar. So it is what it is, folks. We got the data, and that's what counts. I want to jump over here to take a look at some space weather, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up here. This is going to show you the radiation belt, the electrons that are pouring into the Earth. And if you take a look at this big, heavy red band around the satellite belt, which is the dotted line here, we have the daytime side, the nighttime side of the Earth. I'm going to go ahead and let this play. And you can see this was on the 15th. This will go all the way through to today. And just take a look at that, because this is probably one of the main reasons why a lot of you had blasting headaches over the last couple of days. It may continue and it may get worse. The electrons did fluctuate for a period of time between the 15th, 16th, and today, but it got worse. And we're seeing these pulses of energy coming in. And my theory is that we're seeing these pulses of energy, and they may be coming from the sun combined with energy coming from Planet X. Okay, because both the sun and Planet X have very strong magnetic fields. So what you're seeing there, yeah. and this is just replaying. I'm going to go ahead and stop this for 1 second, and we're going to move all the way to the point in time where we're at right now. And this is in UTC time, so this is about 4 hours. This is 11 a.m. This is about 4 hours ahead of actual time. You can see these electrons, they are lighting this model up. I've never really seen this type of a pattern before either. I'm going to go ahead and just go back a little bit. I want you to pay close attention to this swirling motion. I mean, I've seen the electrons come pouring in this way and wrap around. There's definitely something a little odd going on. I just can't pinpoint what it is, but just watch this swirling motion. That's kind of normal. But then you could see it makes its way inside of the satellite belt, which is the dotted line. And then you can see all around the Earth, it's pretty well illuminated. So it almost looks like water going down the drain or like a cyclone. So on the 15th, it was pretty heavy. And again, you know, it made its way all the way surrounding the entire Earth. So for some of you that do suffer those spontaneous migraines like that, that may be the reason why you are having those bad headaches. I know I had one yesterday that was just, whew, it was bad. We're going to see some fluctuations here with the magnetopause. Pay very close attention to the back region of the Earth, the nighttime side. Once again, it's getting very, very inflamed. This energy is making its way past the magnetopause. It's being sucked back around to the nighttime side of the Earth. I'll go ahead and let this play for a few seconds while I take a sip of my dragon coffee. Damn, is that stuff good. So you can see right there, folks, and again, we're seeing these kind of odd ripples in the low density back behind the Earth. Also, you know, right out here in front of the Earth. No contortions to talk about with the actual magnetopause, and that would be due to just these low moving waves of solar energy just bumping off of the magnetopause. So nothing too abnormal other than these large fluctuations behind the Earth. And again, that's the nighttime side of the Earth here. The sun would be over here where I'm turning my cursor around. Go ahead and jump out of here, and I'll pull up the magnetosphere. And there was some craziness going on here. We'll go ahead and let it run out, and you guys can check it out. And again, this goes from the 16th through today. You watch very carefully here to the front of the bow shock. You're going to see waves coming in. You'll be able to notice those waves by the different coloration. It will kind of get like a darker orange color. And then you'll see the front of the bow shock really starting to fluctuate. The black lines, the magnetic field lines, you'll see those start to reach all over the place. Definitely a little odd. See, now it just goes and shows you that the Earth is being hit by these pulses. And these pulses just continue to come in. And again, I don't think that all of this is due to what we refer to as solar wind, because we don't have any massive coronal holes that are Earth facing. Just very sparse. And these pulses have very low speeds. You'll see the speed up here in kilometers per second. You're also going to see the change in direction of these arrows, meaning that those pulses of energy are coming back. They're making their way around the bow shock, the magnetopause, and they're being sucked back in to the backside of the Earth. So let's go ahead. I'll let this run out. This is from the 16th. This will go from yesterday into today. And you see the arrows right here? That coincides with the electron model that we looked at in the very beginning. That would be the reason why we saw that swirling effect. And then you see right there, all the way around the Earth, completely inflamed. We'll just use that terminology. And again, that is for today. So, if any of you start getting these increased headaches and these migraines today, possibly even into tomorrow, that may be the reason why. I'm hoping to hell that I don't get another one today, because I have all kinds of things to do this afternoon, and I could not be faced with a blinding migraine like that, because it was pretty bad. Very interesting what the Earth is going through. There's a very high possibility that within the next 24 to 48 hours, we may see an increase in seismic activity. We'll just wait and see. I'll be monitoring that throughout the day and into the evening to see if any larger earthquakes over a magnitude 5.5 up to a 6 or 7 even occur. But we will see. But you could definitely tell by the coloration change here, going from green to yellow to the darker orange. You'll see those fluctuations in that pulse coming in. But what you notice up here is the speed does not increase much. You don't see it going over 700, 800, 900 kilometers per second. Barely even makes it up to, I think, 600 at one point, or close to it. So it's relatively low. And that's what's telling me that these are not related to coronal holes and true solar wind coming from the sun. Where's it coming from? That's the million-dollar question there, folks. Okay, we'll jump out of that space weather, and we're going to jump in here to the solar wind predictor model. And I want you to pay close attention to this area up here. Just a few days ago, I showed all of you this model, and I was showing you this stream coming from the sun. And at that time, the model was saying that this patch right here was going to be reaching Earth around the 17th. Now, they update this model constantly. I'm just going to use the slider. Pay very close attention. This is the Earth right here, and you're going to see a pretty good impact, which is going to come later on between the 18th and 19th. So this has actually changed. Now, as I move, you can see the slider right here with this thin yellow line, and you can watch the date, and with the other eyeball, you can watch the impact here. Now, I'm going to go back to the 17th. A few days ago when I was showing you this, the model was already saying that by the 17th, we were already going to be enveloped in this stream coming from the sun. But that has since changed. And the reason why it has changed is that the satellites are reading the speed of this stream of solar wind coming from the sun. And for some reason, it has slowed down significantly. Why? That just doesn't happen. In all the years I've been watching space weather, for years and years, I've never seen solar wind streams coming from the sun slow down. They just arbitrarily slow down now. So we're going to go ahead and pan this out a little bit. And now you can see just a little past the 18th, tomorrow, you will see that the Earth will be fully engulfed. Now, this model may be off just a little bit. And you can see right there where my cursor is a more intense area of this solar wind impact. Those will be much more heavily charged electrons blasting into the Earth, but we are going to get our fill of this. We may even see a small geomagnetic storm. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm waiting for NOAA's update to come out on space weather within the next few hours. If I see something erratic, I'll let all of you know. But this is where we're going to be between the 18th and the 19th. I'm going to go ahead and just pan this out just a little bit more. And you can see just before the 19th, we are fully enveloped. Now, the radial velocity, meaning the speed, you see how it dropped off right here, folks? Right there. Follow my cursor. Look at that. It almost at 500 kilometers per second drops off all the way down to about 360. Drops off. It should have stayed steady or sped up, but it didn't. It dropped off. I'm still just not understanding that. But we are going to have an impact between the 18th and the 19th. And depending on how slow, if it continues to slow, we may be in that a little bit longer. So by the 22nd, we're free and clear, but the model is predicting more coming at us, and you can see it right there. So there's no data for that right now. I'm going to go ahead and pull this back a little bit, and you could see it for yourself. See, and it actually intensifies quite a bit when it passes by the Earth. Kind of strange. We've been seeing that also for years. But the radial velocity, it falls all the way down to about 360 kilometers per second on the 18th, and a steady rise, almost back between 450 and 550 kilometers per second. And that will steadily rise. It will pick up speed through the 21st and level off. Again, that's what I'm talking about. That's very, very strange. Plasma density, it will increase naturally on the 18th and peak between the 18th and 19th when it's passing over the Earth or passing through the Earth. And then the plasma density drops. But the radial velocity goes up. So very, very weird things happening with our space weather. Very weird things. Listen, folks, if you guys want to get out there and take some photographs, tonight, April 17th, 18th, and 19th would be some good times if you have clear skies to get out there. Take some photographs of that moon thing that we have up there. We'll have an illumination tonight of about 95%. Tomorrow, 99%. Full moon on the 19th. Now, I've already had a few other people asking me, oh my God, what are those two bright objects near the moon? You know, I had one guy arguing with me back and forth yesterday. He just would not take my answer as being credible, even after I showed him what he was looking at. So anyways, let's take a look at it. This is what you're going to be looking at, folks. Okay. He was referring to Arcturus and Spica. And this was a pretty good little educational topic right here. Arcturus, you will see, well, as the moon was fading down and getting to the 17th and 18th, you will see Arcturus right to the left of the moon. It will be very, very bright. Arcturus is a massive, massive red giant star. So damn massive that if you put the sun next to it, the sun would be, maybe the size of a grain of rice compared to a basketball. Arcturus is a massive, massive red giant. And they say whenever Arcturus burns out, it will burn out into a white dwarf. Very, very interesting. I believe Arcturus is 250 light years away, something like that. It's very, very far away, but it is absolutely massive. So, if you're out there tonight or you're just viewing the nighttime sky, you're not seeing Planet X or Nibiru to the left of the moon. You are seeing the big, bad, red giant Arcturus. If you are looking to the right side of the moon, you're going to see the bright twin star Spica. Now, you know what, folks? This is a good topic for all of you that want to study binary stars. And many of you ask me, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this. Many of you ask me, well, how is it possible that two suns orbit each other? Well, if you go and you look up Spica and you read about it, this Spica, this looks like it's just one star. Spica is a blue giant. I believe Spica is also 250 light years away, but Spica is also very, very large. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 7 times the mass of the sun. It's a very, very large star, a blue star. But here's the thing about Spica. Spica is not alone. Spica is a binary star system. Spica has a little neighbor. I think the little neighbor is about half the size of the main star. They orbit each other, and they're very, 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 very close together. Similar to what? Similar to how Planet X is now orbiting our star. So you see, folks, this does occur out there in our galaxy and in the universe. So when people ask me, how is that possible? This is how it's possible. These are part of star dynamics, planetary dynamics, and I'm going to be quite frank with some of you. Before you shoot your mouth off and leave me rotten, filthy comments, get your facts straight, understand your dynamics of what you're looking at before you criticize me. I've done my homework over the past 20 years. Okay, I'm not a professional astronomer or an astrophysicist, but I've done my homework and I understand what I'm looking at. And I've been a stargazer and a sky watcher, since I was a kid. I loved it. I loved Earth space science. Spica's pretty cool to read about. And that's what you'll be seeing over the next couple of days. And, I do remember last year, a lot of people were taking photographs of the nighttime sky, of the moon, sending me all of these photographs and claiming that Arcturus and Spica were, Nibiru and one of its moons. But in fact, these are common stars that are in our sky in the northern hemisphere. Read about Spica. Spica is a binary star system. They rotate very, very close to each other. Arcturus is a massive, massive red giant, and Spica is a blue giant. and you will see these two objects in our nighttime sky for quite some time. But get out there tonight and tomorrow and the next day, 17th, 18th, and 19th, if you have clear skies. Take some photographs of the moon. If you have a high-powered camera, get out there and make sure you have your focus, autofocus set, and you don't just get this bright illuminated ball. You'll get that if you're using a cell phone. The cell phones are not powerful enough to really see features on the moon, but if you have a telescope or a high-powered video camera or a high-powered 35 millimeter camera, you should be able to get some pretty good photographs. I'll be out there tonight and tomorrow and on the 19th seeing what I capture. Hey, you never know. You may see something streak across the sky in the form of a UFO. You just never know. But anyways, folks, I wanted to touch base with all of you today, bring you this information that was clouding my email box and the Planet X News inbox on Facebook. And listen, folks, if you have not yet joined up on our private network, get your butts over there and join up with us. I am uploading a lot of daily information that, look, I just can't even put it on Facebook anymore. You know, Facebook has this dreaded fact checker website. Oh my God, I had a big fight with them yesterday. Oh dear God almighty. All over what was happening in France with the cathedral. And I did an article for the MFA Media Group. And I also showed a photograph of two gentlemen, which I will use that terminology very loosely, who were in the background in a photograph taken by Sputnik News, and they were laughing at the fire. And Facebook's fact checker said that the photograph was fake and was photoshopped and doctored. Facebook sent me a message telling me just that. And I went the hell off. Because I shared the photograph and I also wrote about it. Because it was a very sensitive situation, what was occurring in France with Notre Dame Cathedral burning. I mean, it's a historical landmark, whether you're religious or not. Over 800 years old. And matter of fact, I'll get myself in trouble with YouTube. And where do I have those? And this was the photograph that they said was fake. They said that these men were photoshopped overlays into that picture. And that's a damn lie. That is a damn lie. Because I put that photograph through every piece of forensic programming that I have. And they based the Facebook fact checker based it on this guy's right cheekbone. They said that it showed that his face was overlaid into this image. Well, see, here's the thing, folks. These pukes over at Facebook didn't do their homework. Because those two guys were photographed 7 times in different areas around the scene. And I saw them with my own eyes. Yeah. So, I started doing my own forensics. Okay, well, here you go. I have a negative of that photograph. I have a negative of it. Better yet, Let's not even bring up this. Now I'm starting to get hot. Let's just bring up the negative. Okay, now, if those two guys were overlays and photoshopped into this picture, whenever you look at it in a negative, boy, oh boy, you would be able to tell instantly. Here, let's zoom in. Here's the one guy. Does he look photoshopped? Do you see any cut lines around him? Do you see any extra pixelization where the pixels of his face don't match? Of course you don't. Now, they were talking about this guy's cheekbones. See, he has nice little round cheekbones. See how nice and round they are? They said due to the fact of this guy's right cheekbone, they deemed this photograph a fake. I lit the Facebook fact checker up. I bet them $5,000. I said, put your damn money where your mouth is. This photograph is real, and it was not doctored or photoshopped, and I have the damn proof. So, you see, folks, this is why I'm telling you that my days on this social media crap, they're coming to an end. They're doing this to everyone. Now, I listened to a report this morning on Fox News, and it was one of their reporters who shared a tweet about the fire burning in France. And all she said was something like, "Oh my God." They blackballed her tweet for nothing. And then on our beloved YouTube, oh, I got to show you this. Oh, I got to show you this, man. Looky what we got here. Yeah. So, you know how YouTube is putting these disclaimers underneath people's videos when you talk about chemtrails or contrails or the 9/11 attacks, whatever. This was this was a news report. Yeah, this was a news report, and they were reporting on the Notre Dame fire. And they did a live stream on their news network. And lo and behold, the algorithms within YouTube totally screwed the hell up. And what did they put? They put this disclaimer below their live stream video. 9/11 attacks. Yeah. Looky there. Yeah. So that just goes to show you, folks, that their algorithms suck. Their fact-checking on Facebook and Twitter sucks. And so do their moderators. They have human moderators. And here's the thing about the human moderators. The human moderators are supposed to be unbiased. Okay? They're supposed to follow their handbook. But let's just say that this human moderator just doesn't like what you posted. Ha! Guess what they do? Cha-ching! There goes your Facebook post. There goes your Twitter post. There goes your YouTube video. So, folks, I hope that I'm making myself crystal clear about the reasons why we are going to be slowly but surely moving away from this social media trash. There are entirely too many things going on in this world that you all need to know about. And this is just another way for social media giants to cloud your minds. It's terrible. There are so many drastic things going on around the world, minute by minute, every tick of that clock. And we need to know about it. I don't need some damn fact checker that gets donations from the Democratic Party here in the United States to tell me that a photograph was fake, after they put it through and scrutinized it with forensic photography at a university. Okay, well, PolitiFact, the Facebook watchdog, my $5,000 betcha is out there. It's on your Facebook page in the comment section after you flagged my post pertaining to those two jokers laughing about the fire burning. And not only were they captured in that photograph, they were captured by other news agencies 7 times. 7 times. Oh, but I guess RT and Sputnik and everybody else faked their photographs. Yeah. Alrighty then. Now that I'm pissed off to high hell, I'm going to end this stream. And I hope all of you were able to take something away from my words today. Ladies and gentlemen, watch your weather over the next couple of days. It's going to get pretty wild in the south. And, hey, listen, if you find something odd on YouTube or Facebook, you want me to take a look at it, I'll take a look at it, inbox it to me, email it to me. I'll take a look at it. But just do me a favor. If I tell you the truth, which that's what I do, and you don't like it, don't get pissed off at me. I'm just doing my job, as I call it. Ladies and gentlemen, say a prayer for the Notre Dame Church. Terrible what has happened. There's a lot of things going on within religious movements around the world that are just absolutely tragic. And it doesn't matter what faith it is. It doesn't matter if it's the Islamic faith, Catholic, Orthodox, the Jewish religion. Religion is a target now. People are targeting your religious beliefs. They're also targeting your freedom of speech. They are also targeting your right to bear arms and protect yourself and your family. This is happening worldwide. But if we don't stand up and fight for what is ours, for what our forefathers wrote down and perceived as our rights, then we're done. We're done. We have threats in space, and we have threats with our weather, and we also have tremendous threats with politics and the powers that be and the globalists, the power-tripping freaks that run the world. I will not succumb to it. I will not lay down and roll over. I will fight to the very end, like each and every one of you should do. But anyhow, anywho, and anyway, again, I hope you were able to take something away from this live stream today. It was great being here with all of you people. Stay tuned to Planet X News and get over there. Join our private network, and the link is in the description box under the video. I will also put it in the live chat. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and you will hear from me tomorrow. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching.